Welcome back to Faraday's Juniors channel. Today we are going to focus on finding the Norton's equivalent circuit. Don't forget this same question, we've already learned how to find the value of what ZTH, that's the Thevenin's equivalent circuit, which of course is the same as what Zn, or the Norton's impedance. Okay. Now it means that in our Norton's equivalent circuit is a situation whereby we have our Norton's current in parallel with the Zn, which is the Norton's equivalent impedance, and then in parallel with the load. Okay, the load ZL. It means that in our first question we had the value of Zn to be 5.00 angle minus 38 point something. Okay, so we are not going to solve that. Our focus is going to be on finding the Norton's current. Okay. And when we mention the Norton's current, what should just come into your mind is short circuit current. Okay. So first of all, let's put in our current to solve and see if we can get the value. So we have our voltage source, and we say that the first thing you should always consider is that we should convert all of them into a single impedances, each of the branches. So we have Z2 here. Okay. So we have Z3 here. And then finally we have our current source, which is 0.5 angle 60 degrees. And then finally we have where we are going to determine our short circuit current, so IN. So you can see that this side of the circuit is being short circuited, right? So let's look at what will happen. So to be able to solve a question like this, 120, so we can ignore the angle. So to be able to solve a question like this, all what you need to do is to consider them individually by using the superposition. Okay, so if E1 is acting alone, what will be the corresponding current at IN? And then if I in the circuit, so we have I in the circuit here, act alone, what will be the corresponding current at IN? That is what we are going to do. So we can see that IN is equal to the current, so you can call it I prime produced by the current, plus I prime produced by let's see, the voltage E1. Okay, that is what we are going to do in this case. Okay, so let's write our parameters. We know that our value of Z1 is equal to 8 ohms, right? And that of the Z2 is equal to G8 ohms. And then finally we have our Z3 to be equal to minus G8 ohms. Okay. Now first of all, let's let the current act alone. So I acting alone, and then E1 removed from the circuit. Removed. What will happen? Now it means that this side is going to be short circuited. Remove that. If it's a voltage source, it's going to be short circuited. So we have our Z1 here, and then we have the value of Z2 here. Okay, and then what again? We have Z3 active in the system, and then finally we have the value of I. Sorry, let me draw it better. We have I here like this, and then I is 0.5 angle of 60, and then we are going to determine the value of IN here, right? Now this is so easy. Okay, the reason why it's easy is based on the fact that now we have the current I here, this I, it is going to share between two branches. So it's going to share between this side and the other side, right? But realize that there's some kind of resistances at this path. And then you can see clearly that there's no resistance here. So all the current will go there. So we can say that IN is the same as the total current that is going to share. And that is actually giving us 0.5 angle of 60 60 degrees. Okay, so we can see that is actually when the I is acting alone. So we can see that I prime is given by 0.5, let me write it better, 0.5 angle of what? 60 degrees. Okay. So we are going to look for when the voltage is rather the one acting. So in that case, we are going to have our voltage source V1, and then we'll have this AC source, our voltage source, and then we have our impedance Z1 here, we have our Z2 here, and then finally we have what? Z3 was at this side, right? And then we have, so there's no current at this point again. We are going to have this alone. And then we'll have what? Our I N. Now it means that what? The current that will pass through C3 is the same as the current that will pass here. Because you can see clearly that this one has now forming one a series path, okay? You can see it real. That this one is forming a series path. So it's the same current that will flow through this side or okay. Having this in mind, then it means that what the analysis becomes so easy. Okay. But let's look at what will happen here. So we need to determine the current here. So first thing we had here to be 120. We had Z1 to be what? 10 ohms, right? And that of the Z2 is what? J8 ohms, and Z3 is what? Minus J8 ohms, right? But then here, for us to be able to get what? The voltage that will go here, we need the current, right? After getting the current, then we now multiply by what? The value Z3 to get the voltage here, right? Or to get the current. So we just need the what? The current. And when we get the current here, we can find the current division across this point, okay? Now, for us to be able to solve this, we need to solve the resulting what with impedances within the circuit. After that, we use it to find the this is the voltage source. We use it to find the current, the total current. When the total current reaches here, it's going to share a voltage division between Z2 and that of what? Z3, right? Okay. So to do that, what do? We find the total impedance. So we find the total impedance, and that is given by Z2 power 1, Z3. Then it will be in series with what? Z1. So let's say plus Z1. Okay. So we know that since all of them have the same parameter, one of them is negative. What will happen is that it's going to form something we call the resonance. Resonance is a situation whereby let's say inductive reactance is equal to capacitive reactance, right? So XC is equal to what? SL. That is a condition for resonance to what? To occur. It means that the XC minus what? XL is equal to 0. You can see clearly that what? J8 minus J8 will be equal to 0. So that's the condition for resonance. And when it happens that way, what will happen is that if it's a power circuit, it's going to form a very large impedance, which is more or less like an infinite what? Impedance. So let's do it and see. So it means that we are going to have this power, this which is what? J8 times, that's product over sum, over 8J, right? All divided by minus 8 plus what? J8. And that will give us what? So let's say this one is 64, right? Minus 64 over 0. You can see clearly. So this is what? More or less like an infinity or indeterminate. It is what is happening, or what we can learn from this is that it is assumed that all the what? The voltage, that is the total voltage to have, is supposed to have passed through C3. That is what it means. Or that of what? Z2. And this is the condition for what we term as what? Resonance. Okay. So we can say that the total voltage is the same as the voltage that is passing through what? I1. Therefore, for us to be able to get what? I prime, okay, is the same as the total voltage in the system divided by what? The impedance there, which is minus 1, J8. Okay. So we are going to get 120 divided by minus what? 8 what? I. And that will give us 15I. Okay. That will give us 15I or J15. Okay. Okay. So we can see clearly that we've gotten what? The two current. Okay. For both. So the first, this we can call this one what? I prime prime rather. We had the value of I prime to have been equal to The value of I prime was equal to 0.5 angle of what? 60 degrees. Okay. So we can say that what the Norton's total current is I prime plus I prime prime. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have. Now let's find ways and means to add them together. So this will give us a corresponding value of. So you see that this one we had it to be J15, right? But then this one is in terms of angle, so we need to find ways and means to convert 0.5 angle of 60 degrees. Okay. Now we know how to do that. This is the same as 0.5 what? Cos theta, and that's 60 plus J 0.5 or 0.5 at the back sine what? 60. And that will give us 0.25 plus J 0.433. Okay, so this is what we have. So we are just going to add it to the value we had. Okay, so you can see that we'll add the imaginary part together and then we add the real part together. The real part is just 1. So we can say that the Norton's equivalent is equal to 0.25 and then plus J 15 plus 0.45, and that will give us 15.44. Okay, so let's convert this one into a form of what? Angle and see. So we have 0.25 plus 15.44 I. So shift and then we convert it into corresponding angle. That's option 3. This will give us what? 15. This will give us 15.44 angle what? 89. This will be our results. Thank you.